I believe it was 1998, and there was a massive cyclone in the Arabian Sea, and I think it was Badin and Tata districts. They were totally devastated. And then the Prime Minister told me to accompany him in the helicopter. So I just sat down, and there's about 6 or 7 people in the helicopter. And we flew, and here I am. I'm just watching from the helicopter window, and absolutely, totally covered with water. Everything, you could just see water everywhere. And you could see some patches here and there, little islands where people would be kind of clogged together with each other, the flood effecties, or the cyclone effecties. And then the Prime Minister decides to land on to one of these little islands. So the helicopter comes down. This impression has been imprinted on my mind. I still remember that I came out of the helicopter, and the first step onto the ladder, and I see hundreds of people in front of me, barely clothed, and men, women, children, and they were standing like this. This was the first interaction that I had with Pakistan. All this time, all through my journey in London, in the West, in my university, in the government, in my business, I had not met a Pakistani. That was the day that I realized what is Pakistan and what the challenge was.
I have seen it all happen. Prosperity first, when it gets ignored, because when a donor or an occupying force, for instance in Iraq and in Afghanistan, in Syria as we see it now, in Yemen and other places, that the tendency of the donor is to follow the traditional route again, to secure, to reach a political settlement, hold elections, cut and run. And it hasn't worked. We can see these states are collapsing right and left. You have Libya, you have Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen. You can name several countries where this thing has not worked. So prosperity first is probably the way to go. And in order to do that, you need a lot of creative people who can generate these solutions and models where the prosperity happens rather quickly.
So I again started focusing on rebuilding the team, bringing in more people, smart people, continuing to research, update the data, update the solutions. Technology had changed, more solutions had come in, the world had actually changed. And while I was continuing to solidify all of this, there came an opportunity. And that was in 2010, when unprecedented floods ravaged through bulk of this country, devastated hundreds of millions of people. And I would just turn on the TV and watch helplessly. Being in the government, I knew that the system would not deliver. And being in the government, it kind of made me feel even more responsible. And in that situation, the only voice that would come from inside me was that, what have you done?
I got a phone call from Harun Khwaja, and he said a statement which still sticks with me till today. And I think it's a statement that really drove a lot of what has come out of what Pagpur has done. And the statement was that half of our countrymen are underwater right now. And we're on the other half. And what is our responsibility?
And there were three rivers that got together and totally devastated the area, and we saw with our own eyes the water that had crept up to 13, 14 feet. And just the devastation was, you just cannot explain in words. And I gathered a complete team that I was working with. Almost all of them were from private sector. I told them that I think we should go, have a look, and I think we should try to implement some of the solutions that we have been working on all these years.
The challenge was that everybody was going out and thinking about immediate relief. And the people that were coming together in Pagpur were saying, let's think about a more permanent solution. And let's not just think about, there's plenty of people that are distributing flour, plenty of people that are distributing immediate relief goods. Let's think about rehabilitation in the long run. And so from there spawned the idea of creating a model village.
A new planned village. The kind of village that we would like to see in Pakistan, where the roads are straight and roads which are brick paved, where there is proper underground sanitation, where there are parks, where there are children playing, where there is a school, where there is a technical institute, where there are solutions for electricity, gas, where there is no problem of community living in harmony, where there is no problem of law and order, where there is a certain system through which that community is being managed. It, at that point, seemed so far away from reality. It seemed to be a far-fetched dream. I think in that meeting nobody believed me. I think while nobody believed me, nobody had the heart to disagree with me either. And I think perhaps even I did not believe that this could happen. But I knew that sure, I need to give it a shot.
When it comes to affordable housing, the basic principles that the world is focusing on is alternative materials and green building and the likes on one side, and the other focuses on financing mechanisms. Let's do microfinancing with the poor, and let's come up with micro mortgages and some sort of guarantee structures and so forth on the finance side. So these were the two areas that everybody was focusing on, and I realized that everybody's forgetting about the customer. We brought the community in and brought them and started putting them in tents on the parcel of land that we were going to build on. And we consulted with the community on what their needs are going to be.
One of the guys said, please do whatever you do, but do not put in an underground sewage system. It's been tried before, and you've got all these plastic and everything stuck in it, and we're kind of all the time cleaning the garbage from it for water to run, so it's a big hassle for us. And at that time I realized that there is more to it than brick and mortar, and we needed to learn more. We sat down with these people. We asked them what their needs were, and because I had a lot of smart people with me, we started putting down the basic ingredients around which the lives of these people could be rebuilt. In 3 months, it took us 3 months, and 25% of the homes were ready, and we just handed over the 25% of homes. It was a 100 home village, and about 25 homes were handed over in 3 months. Anyhow, so we progressed with the village. Little did I know that it was It was not the end of the journey, it was actually the beginning of a new journey. We came across this guy, his name was Mohammad Bashir. And Mohammad Bashir was a typical, ordinary Pakistani who has no voice. Nobody talks about him, nobody cares about him, nobody thinks about him. And, you know, he's just living.
We start from an ordinary citizen, Mohammad Bashir, that we have talked about. Then we talk about the community Mohammad Bashir lives in. Then we go on to the local level. We go on to the tehsil level, district level, provincial level, and then on to the federal level. And we have tried to connect it all so that Mohammad Bashir is directly hooked to Islamabad. And Islamabad knows what happens with their policies, how is Mohammad Bashir affected by those policies. Our agenda then becomes education, health and social safety. Then we are talking about sustainable economic growth, to employability. Then we're talking about energy and resources and good governance that ensures security and justice for everybody. And this is what Pakistan Project is all about. And if you look at the way Pakpur is organized, we are organized around these 5 clusters. It originally started by looking at the number of government departments. We had 200 plus government departments at the federal level. So we started wondering, how do you create, there's obviously a lot of redundancy, a lot of overlap, this country goes through a lot of trouble collecting the revenue that it does, indirect taxes that an ordinary citizen ends up paying. And a lot of this goes to total waste because the way the government is structured, the way it's organized. So we created those clusters where there is no redundancy, where there is no overlap, where there are synergies that are created. And we were able to reduce the number of government departments to mere 15 or 15 ministries, or put those government departments into 15 ministries where this synergies could be created. Well, that's a very important aspect of the Pakistan Project, where we feel that the entire government structure needs to be streamlined, and redundancies have to be reduced, overlap has to go, the bleeding of the resources has to disappear. This very obvious mismanagement of funds, quite often a deliberate management of the funds, could be eliminated. We are a poor country. We have to be very careful how we spend our resources and all of that. So when you look at the upper end of the Pakistan Project, you see that we are talking about restructuring the entire federal government. Then we are thinking about creating parallel provincial governments so that the governments can talk to each other. And in any state, there are several layers of government. We want all layers of the government to be able to talk to each other till they solve the problems of an ordinary Pakistani. That's Mohammad Bashir.
We have come up with definitive timelines, definitive actions, what needs to be done, how long will it take, and with definitive outcomes. What will be the result? As a consequence, the Pakistan Project represents a complete solution for Pakistan, and we are very confident in saying that this country can be put back onto the right track in 36 months.
Imagine a society that is replicated by these villages. We know that 60% or so of our society in Pakistan is rural based. Imagine if we're able to replicate the Bagpur model, not in just one village, but in 10 villages in a local cluster, then 100 villages, then 1,000 villages, and start marking the impact that we're having. The impact would be on security, reduced crime, reduced domestic issues, reduced burden on courts because you have dispute resolution over there, reduced burden on the infrastructure because the community is managing their infrastructure in advance.
When you're so zoomed out, you're living in Islamabad and making policy there, and then when you go to this village and you meet Mohammed Bashir, it touches you. That's when you start thinking that this new social contract that we always talk about is all about Mohammed Bashir.
We still have a vision of what we can do and what we should be doing. And part of that is driven by the hope that I see in the people who have come together in Bagpur and the vision that they hold and the commitment that they hold. That there are people in this country who are coming together and who do want to look beyond the material gains of what they may be achieving and look to a greater responsibility that they have to this country and to humanity in general.
Sitting in Islamabad looking at Pakistan from a very different angle. But once you meet Mohammed Bashir out there, then your agenda becomes much more simple.
That whatever we've been doing, at the end of the day, the person who really taught us how to do it was Mohammed Bashir. And that's why today we call Mohammed Bashir the teacher.
The people who are in the halls of power have not taken the time to understand what Bagpur has taken the time to understand, which is the power of Mohammed Bashir.
The seeds for this nation to become one of the greatest nations on this planet are there. You just need to make a few changes. It is the system which is dysfunctional.